Here we go, week 18. Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. Looking forward to this week. What's up, Marine? What's up, Chris? What's up, Kels? Yeah, man, it's been a fun year, and I'm locked in for these playoffs. And with the Patreon bets, they'll be right up after the show. If you're on Patreon, you already saw me put them in early. I had very good instincts to put one of those in early for sure. And you saw what happened to that spread. There will be, I believe, 3 soccer plays up tonight. Hope everyone's doing good. A lot of gratitude for all the support you guys showed me this year, helping with the algorithm. Week 18 doesn't have a lot of energy. There's another bet I want to post on Patreon. It's just, I don't want to send the wrong message for week 18 because it is a degen week and it's a week you probably shouldn't be betting a lot of money. So I'm going to go back. I'm going back and forth on that one in my head. And, so yeah, like lots of gratitude, man. I think we all made money this year. So lots of gratitude for that. Really ready for the playoffs. Really ready for this Vikings Lions game. Think that's what I kind of want your guys' opinion on it during this show. Just want to know who you guys think is going to win. What's up, Wiz? What's up? Yeah, I wonder what those Raiders are going to do. What's up, Stan? Yeah, I know. Stan, it goes by fast, man. The NFL is an absolute grind. But it really does go by too fast. I'm happy the NFL added the extra week. Did I like the Chiefs playing 3 games in 11 days? Like, I don't think any NFL team should be doing that. But overall, like them adding this extra game has been a gift. And you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of the Thursday night games at all. I have my complaints about them. But damn, I did miss a little bit of Thursday night football last night. It is always nice to turn on, although maybe you guys have post-traumatic stress from watching the Seahawks Bears. That one was bad. What's up, I'm Sons? Sticky Finger says Vikings. Yeah, I think I laid out a really good case for the Vikings. And I didn't come to that conclusion easy. And obviously, there's tons of avenues for Detroit to win that game. And you listen, I know the Vikings, I think the Vikings have forced at least one turnover in every game this year, which is an absolute mean feat. But I do feel like the Vikings are more likely to turn it over than Detroit. Think that's really the only thing that can stifle the Vikings. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to see what can happen. Oh, yeah, looking forward to the Commanders. I mean, how much are we going to see Trey Lance? That's my big question. And, yeah, we've seen that spread moving. It's open at 3.5 on the Sunday night. And we will be back for the opening line show. So make sure you guys set your clock. We will be live for the opening line show as soon as the Vikings Lions finishes. So big playoffs coming up. Action Jackson, I thank you, man. I thank you. Hopefully, yeah. What is Diddy like? Listen, I was so far behind on the Diddy jokes. Like my dad was making Diddy jokes, and people were talking about Diddy, and I didn't know what he did. And I thought people were joking. What was it? The baby powder? No, the baby lotion. I was so far behind because in NFL, I was just lock in. It's just football, maybe a little bit of soccer, maybe watch the news a little bit. But it's just they're in NFL season. I'm off, man. What's up, Dicko? Damn, Dicko. What time is it where you're at? It has to be like 5 a.m. Marine, yeah, I do like that Warren prop. And listen, like, I got to say, like, we got some questions about the incentives, but I feel like the incentives were a little bit of a dud this year. Like, I don't mean to be a party pooper. Like, I dug into more I found every incentive, like everyone seems to be mentioning like Dobbins, Mike Evans. The Mike Evans one makes the most sense. He probably would have been on the list anyways. Although I think that one, that's not really what I'm looking at. Like last year, we were getting like third and fourth string receivers who needed 70 yards to get like 100K, and they were on minimum salaries. The ones this week aren't moving me, but I'm very happy with my player prop list. Player prop video now. What up, Brian Webb? I think the Atlanta props are a train, and I'm thinking about posting an Atlanta same game parlay on Patreon, and I just feel like there's stuff we can do with that game. Yeah, no, Larry, no problem. Larry, I gotta say, I gotta say, I don't track the player prop videos good. I normally get the feedback from you guys. So the last 3 weeks, the feedback's been really good on the player prop video. So I feel like I'm swinging a hot bat, and I gotta be honest, the player prop video is a little bit annoying because I think I fucking spent 6 hours this week compiling the player prop video. And I like my other prop bets too, where they haven't listed them yet. So go check those out. And you're going to have to bet those like Sunday morning, but go check those out. I think I got a good lean on those, at least the Justin Watson one. Like, who's Carson Wentz going to throw the ball to? Like, it's crazy. No, Brian, it's crazy. The prop video, I end up spending as much time on as any other video. It's insane. Like, I'm scrolling back 365 the whole day, it feels like. And yeah, like Chris, like Coop, I don't know how he does it. He's always early on him too. He's always early. Like, but they're gonna block him. They're gonna take care of him. They're gonna get Coop off some of those sites soon. They're gonna take care of him. They're gonna take him out to the back, and old Yeller Coop. He even knows when they fucking drop. Like he did, didn't he? In the live chat last week when I was talking about Malik Washington for the Dolphins that they haven't listed it. He's like, it's going to drop 10 a.m. Eastern time Sunday morning. And like, he knows when they're going to drop, even for the periphery players. Yeah, Coop is a damn monster, man. He is a damn monster. I think there's a lot to like this week. So yeah, like, let's just get to the Patreon questions and we'll get guests on. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that was funny last week. And the Dolphins still covering the best bet on Patreon was also very, very funny. It seems like Patreon's really on Seattle. I would just caution you guys on that. Alistair Hall says, I might go Commanders -2 just in case it'll be a close game. Do not do that. Alistair, do not do that. You're just taking away all value out of the game. I mean, you're just taking away all value out of the bet. You're better off going the other way, like I suggested in the upset video when I picked the game in the upset video. When I posted it on Patreon, that game was -4.5, and I brought it up to -13.5. Like, come on, Alistair, you don't want to be chasing bad value like that. Either way, I don't think you have to sweat if you get in late with the Commanders. I really don't. I'll lay out why, because I'm sure let's just get to the football talk. I'll lay out why. We're hearing Trey Lance, and I'm not saying Trey Lance is as bad as DTR or Ryan Finley or anything like that, but he is kind of in that Bailey Zappi category. But in Bailey Zappi's defense, he's never thrown 5 interceptions in a preseason game. And I also feel like this Cowboys offense is at the end of the line. Another prop I had in that video was Cowboys team total under 17.5. If you feel more comfortable with that, Alistair. I like the way the Commanders defense is coming together. And like I said, I feel like the Cowboys offense is at the end of the goddamn line. Now, let me explain why. They've been running the ball great. Commanders are getting better against the run, and I don't know how much Dowdle's going to be able to do. Maybe he gets 80 yards, but he's going to get like 20 to 25 carries, so that's not a good rate. Also, CD Lamb is out. I will repeat, CD Lamb is out. And pretty much the Cowboys offense has consisted of throwing him 2-yard wide receiver screens and letting him break 50, 60, 70-yard runs. And that's not going to happen. And you're relying on Tolbert. You're relying on Brandon Cooks. You're relying on Jonathan Mingo, one of the worst wide receivers I've ever seen in my life, step on an NFL field. So you're relying on those guys, and there's just not a lot there. And you got a Commanders offense that is firing on all cylinders. And in that first Cowboys-Commanders matchup, we have to remember Jaden Daniels was still hampered by that rib injury, and he hasn't been able to run it. If you've been following the player prop show, I think the last 3 weeks, maybe 2 out of the last 3 weeks, we've always had over rushing yards for Jaden Daniels because his yardage is increasing and his attempts are increasing. And I think we're going to see him run it again. And the Commanders have to win the game. They need to win the game. It'll definitely help them for seeding. So I just think this is Commanders' game. And I know you guys don't like the Commanders as much as me, but I think you can all agree that if you look at this year, if there's a team that can pull away and boot stomp someone and not leave them in the game, the Commanders are a fair candidate. Willie Allgood Jr. from Patreon. Are you confident about the Bengals as a -1.5 pick? Well, I'm about as confident as you can betting the Bengals. Like I did emphasize on Patreon my confidence level. I said minor bet. Firstly, we are in week 18. I'm not here to try to sell you like fucking insurance or snake oil. It's week 18, so every single game you should be approaching with the extreme amount of caution, Will. Secondly, it's the Bengals. Last week we had the Bengals on Patreon, and you could argue we should have got a push at the very worst. Some would argue we should have lost the game. We ended up winning and covering it, which I felt like was deserved, especially because I felt like the Bengals dictated play that whole first half and yet came up short. Even on the over-under video last week, I had Bengals Broncos over as a money pick. Well, that was a little bit lucky to hit. And you guys remember earlier in the year when we bet the Bengals against the Chargers. We should have won that bet, and that was the worst beat of the year, and you saw how they lost it. So I repeat, it's a minor bet because there's only so much. You know what you're getting into when you're betting the Bengals. You know what you're getting into when you're betting them. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, every damn year that's down. Thank you, Josh. I mean, we've certainly been the best gambling show this year. Certainly been. What's up, Tony? Yeah, man. Trey Lance is really bad. Like, I'm not saying he's DTR bad, but yeah, he's pretty damn bad. So yeah. TJE, do you consider weather when making your prop picks? A little bit. But most of the time, I'm just trying to get them to list guys because I don't like betting like the big props. Like sometimes, like we've bet like Justin Jefferson over 90.5 receiving yards, but I would prefer like an Addison over 55.5. Just giving a random example, or I'd prefer like a Westbrook-Ikini over 32.5 receiving yards from the Titans. Unfortunately, they list them late, so that's like kind of my main complaint. But yeah, like you got to look at weather, and we kind of know the bad weather games right when we get to Friday. So I like to get the props up Friday. In a perfect world, I'd put them up Saturday morning, but I have to bet soccer as well. So like Saturday morning's a no-go for me. And I don't think any of you guys want to wait to Saturday. I mean, some of you guys will, but like I think Friday night for the props has to be where we're at, right? So yeah, Willie, I think I gave like a good impression. Like it's week 18 and it's the fucking Bengals, but I do think we have an edge in this Bengals one. Now, I have a lot to say about that Steelers Bengals game, even a lot more than I had to say on the Tuesday video. So if we get into there, we can get into there. When I get the guest on, I'm going to let them talk more. Sometimes I have a habit of going on rants, like when you guys already heard the rants, like, yeah, I've been ranting all week. All right, Larry, I do think it's going to go over, but also I don't want to bet it. Like, I think the Vikings win the game 30-27. Kind of curious what you guys think more. Kind of curious what you guys think more about the Vikings-Lions game. Okay, let's get to the next Patreon question. Quat, I think Geno needing a 10th win for a $2 million bonus. Seattle is a safe bet to win. Your thoughts? Like, well, Quat, they're a 6-point favorite, so they probably should win the game. Yeah, I do. Like I said, I just think the Rams are going to be more competitive and more feisty than you guys think. I would not lay the 6 with Seattle, for instance. And also, I am questioning Sean McVay's decision-making quite a bit here because, and can we get to this Rams game just for a second? Matt Stafford started this season playing at a very high level, like not at A-, A+ level, like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Burrow, but he's playing at a good B+ level. You guys remember that opening night game against the Lions? The Lions were hitting him every play, and he was making just throwing dime after dime. And I just feel like as the season went on, he's getting worse. As the team gets healthier, as the offensive line gets healthier, as Nakua and Cooper Kupp start playing well, I feel like Stafford's getting worse. So I feel like the Rams offense firstly needs to work. Secondly, I've seen Sean McVay win games or Carson Wentz. He had Baker Mayfield in the facility for 4 days. He won a game with Baker Mayfield. Like, I've seen Sean McVay work magic with backup quarterbacks. So I would just operate with a lot of caution. And the Rams defense, there's only so many guys you can rest because they rotate a lot in the secondary with a lot of young guys who are playing at a high level. They rotate a lot on the defensive line with a lot of young guys who rotate. So you look at the linebacking core, okay, if they bench Rosenblum, like, I don't know, is that going to be a big drop-off? And is Blake Corum a big drop-off from Kyren Williams? I kind of like when we get Blake Corum in there, for example. And I'm not sure he's going to bench the whole offensive line to rest them. I just think the Rams are lively in this game, man. And also, if the Rams lose, like, I'm not saying the Rams are going to try their hardest to win the game or they're going to go all out or anything. No, Frank, I understand Geno has money on the line. It's just like, like I said, like, he had the playoffs on the line last week and they put up 6 points against the Bears. And the Bears haven't stopped the nosebleed in fucking 8 weeks. So, yeah, like, I get it. But he's also like the highest paid player on the team. So, like, that's not the incentives I like. And I just think, like, Geno Smith playing for $2 million, like, that's fine. But if you're a quarterback in this league, you're playing for far more than $2 million. I mean, Jimmy G's playing for far more money. Think about it. Did you see Gardner Minshew's contract this year? I mean, let's just take a gander at Gardner Minshew's contract. I mean, if you're a backup quarterback coming in, if you're Carson Wentz, who's damn near out of the league, You're Joe Flacco against Mac Jones. I mean, you're playing for more than $2 million. And correct me if I'm wrong, Geno Smith's the highest paid player on the fucking Seahawks. I just think maybe you guys are overreacting a bit too much to some of these incentives. Exactly, Marine. Like with Geno Smith, it comes down to like how much do they really need? Like the same thing with Mike Evans. He's damn near highest paid player on the team. He's gotten 3 big contracts already. Like, I don't think that's the incentives we want to target. Like, for me, like, I don't think those like move the needle. Like, I think Mike Evans is going off for 100 fucking yards regardless. Because the Saints haven't covered anyone the whole year. Oh, Azul, like, what's up with Russ? What's up with Russ, Azul? Is he going to get right? No, Frank, I get it. Like, who doesn't like money? Like, we all like money. That's why we're here and we love football. And normally someone who gets to the, I would say 90% of NFL players love football. And I would say 100% of NFL players love money. So I'm not going to debate you there. Yeah, the cat's like, he sleeps. I don't know why he likes sleeping in here. This room is about like 150 fucking degrees with no wind, with no airflow. So I don't know why he likes sleeping in here, but yeah, the Bears can't stop anything. And I feel like if there's a team that quit, if there's a team that tanked, like I've heard like a lot of talk about tanking. If there's a team that quit this year, it's the Bears. No problem, Frank. No problem, Frank. But Rich, why? I don't know. Like, is there great value on Lions money line? I don't know. Like, dude, what is it? Like minus 140? I don't know. I don't want to pound like a minus 140. But that's just me. Okay, here we go. Okay. Maddie Zhang, Tampa Bay -7, Denver -3, Atlanta -2.5, Arizona money line. What team would you take out of the 4-team teaser? Well, Atlanta, you got to leave. I think Atlanta is a teaser dream made. I think that was created to be teased. Arizona money line. Listen, I think Arizona stomps them, but okay, I would leave Atlanta and Arizona. I actually wouldn't take any of those out, but like the maths, if we have to do the maths, Tampa Bay -7 is a little bit dangerous, but I think they blow away the Saints. It just it lands on one of those key numbers. I like the teaser though. I think you're good with that. Although I do think the Chiefs are going to be a little bit competitive. J Bar, yo, what's good, Lawson? Were you able to find any other incentive bets that are worth a shot? I think the best incentive bet is Von Miller to record over a sack. Honestly, I think that's the best incentive that I saw. I had a list here, but a lot of them are like defensive players. And so, yeah, like the best incentive based I've seen is if Von Miller gets one more sack, he's going to get some good money. But once again, he's already rich. And yo, Chris M7, I appreciate Chris. I've never seen you in the comment section. I have a photographic memory. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, like it's crazy. A lot of people who are on this channel have been here like 4 or 5 years. It's insane, and it's definitely gratitude. I did hear talk about Olavi Bong. I don't know, man. They can't block anyone, and Spencer Rattler's an absolute train wreck. I don't know if I would even consider Saints covering the spread. I don't like that. I don't even love that game from a Baker Mayfield prop perspective, and everyone wants to Bucky Irving in that game from a prop perspective. I just don't like that game. Like, I feel like if you want to bet for a blowout, it would be more likely to go Atlanta over the Panthers. Exactly, Frank. People are going to get pulled from games. Like, yeah, Olavi's a dog, man. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he's even talking about playing this week. Okay. Okay. Here we go. But good question, J Bar. Brianna Martinez. Hey, Lawson, what's your thoughts on if the Steelers win, the Bengals get to play? Okay, what's your thoughts on if the Steelers win, the Bengals win against the Bengals, they get to play the Texans instead of the Ravens in the playoffs? You think Mike Tomlin will go full throttle week 18? I think the Steelers are going to play a lot of starters, but I don't think it's going to matter. I really don't. Did I take pie on the face last time the Steelers played the Bengals? Absolutely. It looks like Joey Porter Jr. will be back for the Steelers, so I think that will help. But I still feel like the Cincinnati offense is the main future, is the matinee in this game. And I'm not seeing the Steelers stop them. And, of course, the Steelers will sack Joe Burrow quite a bit, just like the Broncos did last week. Did it really make a difference? No, not really. And I think that's what it comes down to, this Bengals offense being an absolute juggernaut. I do think the Steelers are getting to their point of no return. And obviously you want to play the Texans instead of the Ravens. But would you risk health of players? You already have Pickens, who he has a hamstring. They're fussy. You got some guys who are banged up. TJ Watt really hasn't been himself. The other two DNs actually look more lively than TJ Watt, as crazy as that sounds. So you got Russell Wilson, who's just looked really bad the last 2 weeks. We'll see, man. We'll see. And a lot of the Steelers, Russell Wilson's passing yards, the first game against the Bengals, I think like 150 of those passing yards went to running backs. And I know the Bengals, they're giving up so much yak. They can't tackle anyone. They're an absolute mess. But at a certain point, I do think the variance will calm down with the Steelers offense. Like, it's high variance. There goes the camera again. There goes the camera again. 1 second. I don't know. I was a little like, he certainly had a problem the last 2 weeks. Certainly had a big issue against the Chiefs. There's no Chris Jones. And eventually in this league, you have to complete high percentage stuff in the intermediate area, right? Like, you have to be somewhat, what's the word, efficient. And you can't really rely on like getting 150 pass yards, just slinging it to running backs on swing routes. My favorite soccer team is a team in the city where I live, Fortaleza. They play in the Brazilian First Division. No, I don't know. Yeah, man, we'll see what the Steelers. Like I said, like, I'm getting against them. I want to see a Texans-Steelers matchup in the first round. Then we all have a decision to do, because I think they'll put the Steelers as favorites if they go on the road to the Texans. Yeah, Cincy certainly hasn't had any luck, but they're definitely contributing to it. Okay, Derek. Hey, John, Happy New Year's. 2 questions for you. What 2 games would you take off this 7-point teaser? Baltimore minus 13. Cincy plus 5 or Pitt plus 9? Go Cincy plus 5. Atlanta -1, Green Bay -3, Tampa Bay -7, Washington plus a half a point, Minnesota plus 10. Well, I would leave Minnesota, but you don't like teasing games with totals of over 50. But I would leave them. I would leave Washington plus a half a point. The one I would take off would be the two games I would take off this teaser would be Minnesota just because the math. And I would take off Tampa Bay because the math. Eventually you have to go to the math. Baltimore -13 could be dangerous, but actually, here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave Baltimore. We're going to leave Cincy. We're going to leave Atlanta. We're going to leave Green Bay. We're going to take Tampa Bay off, and then we're going to go Washington and Minnesota. I would just take off one. Do you think the Steelers will play to win this game no matter what happens in the Ravens game and still playing for the 5th seed? Steelers on a 3-game losing streak, and knowing Tomlin, he won't want to start the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak. And I'm sure Pittsburgh would much rather play Houston than Baltimore. But I also don't think it matters, though. I just don't know if it matters. But I also think Cincinnati's a better team than the Steelers. It just depends. Obviously, this isn't a great spot for Cincinnati going on the road to Heinz Field. Like, it's a really bad spot. I just don't think the Steelers are, man, I just don't think they're that good, man. I just don't. I don't. And honestly, there's a reason why the market has it at this price. There's a reason why the market has it. Even though, like, the market factors in data and they love offense, and Cincinnati has great data because their offense it's been top 5 the whole year. They're factoring in that the Steelers aren't going to go hard this game. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and I'm not saying the Steelers are going to lay down and let them win. I would go balls to the wall and try to win to get the Texans the first week. But I don't think the Steelers have all that much fear of the Ravens. I did feel like the Steelers needed quite a bit of luck to win that first meeting, but they still won it. That last meeting in Heinz Field. I do, Zamora. I do feel like the Chargers-Raiders game will mean something. So that's okay. Ace, thank you. Happy New Year. My 6-team teaser down to 3 teams left. Ravens -10.5, Packers -2, Chiefs plus 17. Yeah, man, it makes sense to me. I think the Packers are a good team to tease here. It's crazy though how Bailey Zappe's announced. I know that I know Denzel Ward and Jerome Ford were ruled out, but Denzel Ward hasn't covered anyone the whole year, and the Browns can't run it. I know those 2 guys were ruled out, and Bailey Zappe was announced as starter. But when I saw that go from 17.5 to 20.5 yesterday, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I was hoping maybe Winston could get in there and then we could get the Browns to cover, but obviously that would move down to like 13.5 if Winston was playing, right? Okay, here we go. Next Patreon question, Big Testicle. As you explore dabbling into MLB betting, any plans to do YouTube videos on it during the MLB season? Yes, I'm thinking about doing videos on it. I'm just worried that it might hurt the algorithm. And then when NFL comes back, my YouTube channel's completely forgotten. So I'm thinking if I should just create another channel for it. But I need to make... But Big Testicle, Jesus, I have to think about that because obviously people need to know. So I'm happy you asked this question because I got to make this decision before the playoff video. Because once the first round of the playoffs is done, people check out. Let's be realistic. Once there's less games, less people want to watch the betting video. So I have to make a decision on that. I probably should go separate channel. But yeah, I kind of want to just go daily and wake up every morning and go through the spreads and just do it that way and grind. And then once NFL comes back, we focus on NFL. And I'm still going to do the soccer. Orion Flame. What's your take on Cincinnati team total over 23.5 for minus 130? I like it. I've already bet it, but I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing. They haven't scored less than 24 since October, and they've only done it 4 times. They've only done it 4 times this year. I'm thinking Chase Brown and Mims being questionable are keeping it low. Seems like good value to me, even at minus 130. Well, I can't say I love the minus 130. But also, Orion, I just think people are overrating the Steelers' defense, and the strength of the defense is the pass rush. And every single game, Burrow takes 5, 6, 7 sacks. A lot of it's his fault. I don't think you should even be thinking about Chase Brown in this game. If he plays, if he doesn't play, listen, I think Chase Brown is a pretty decent running back, and he helps the team, and he can run routes, and he's getting better. But I don't think that's going to be the deciding factor in whether this goes over 23.5. The deciding factor is the Steelers' lack of secondary options outside of Joey Porter Jr. And one thing I mentioned in the prop video that I thought was interesting, I had to go back and check this from the last time they played. Joey Porter Jr. was almost exclusively on T. Higgins. Almost exclusively on T. Higgins. So wouldn't you want to put him near Jamar Chase? And so for me, man, what that does is Jamar Chase in the slot, Gesicki over the middle, tearing up a lot of guys who've just struggled back there in man-to-man coverage. And you already have to plan in the sacks. Like the Bengals were in 3rd and 13, 3rd and 17 situations the whole fucking game against the Broncos. And also another thing that is rather interesting, I kind of think the Broncos pass defense, when you get Riley Moss in there with Pat Surtain, is better than the Pittsburgh pass defense. That's, people would debate me on that, but I just, yeah, man, I want to see what happens this Saturday game, man. That's going to be a great game. Rhonda Mahone, newbie question. Are teams obligated to disclose who's sitting out, who's playing? Saquon has me baffled. No, they're not. We just have to read beat reporters and guess. Like, Rhonda, one game that's really been under my craw this whole week has been Texans against the Titans. Like, I think the Texans might play the starters 3 quarters. But I'm just on vibes. I haven't gotten any hints. And a lot of times we've gotten hints, like Sirianni already said he's going to rest the starters, for instance. So, yeah, like Chiefs are resting Mahomes and Travis Kelce and a lot of defensive players. So, yeah, we just have to look at the news. They should have to disclose it, but it is what it is. They're not even disclosing injuries. I mean, Rhonda, I don't know if you were privy to Patreon last week, but best bet was Dolphins minus 6.5. And I wake up fucking Saturday morning and everyone's panicking. And I'm wondering, why is everyone panicking? Like, we had a big Christmas day. We hit the Ravens Chiefs. Like, why are we panicking going into Saturday? And then I see Tua was ruled out and there was no hints. We got a ton of Dolphins fans. I follow every single piece of fucking news. And there was no hint that Tua was going to be out. So yeah, they're not even disclosing injuries now and no one's getting punished for it. Rhonda says, just have to say, I love your style, passion. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate it. Thank you for getting on Patreon. Richard Lockhart. Good evening, John. I'm taking Ravens first half at minus 10.5. What you think? And I got Texans minus a half a point first half too. Let's go. Like I said, I think that Texans-Titans one is a big gamble, but I fully support that gamble. I just would not go hard. I would make that a very, very minor, minuscule bet, and I would prepare to be disappointed. But I do think the Texans take the game somewhat serious, at least the first half, first three quarters. So I can co-sign that at least a little bit. First half for the Ravens minus 10.5 is beautiful, but it's just something tells me the line isn't that. Because if the line is Ravens first half minus 10.5, I'm betting it. Because I think they by the time they go into halftime, I think the Ravens are going to be up 17 to 20 points. Maureen, hey John, how concerned are you that Chase Brown is out? Very little. Obviously, I would like him to play, but it's the same thing like with you guys reminding me about Dobbins was out. Like, yes, they're pretty good running backs. You would prefer to have a guy like Chase Brown and Dobbins with you. You would. But also, it's not like Bijan Robinson or Saquon Barkley's out either. Like, it's not even like if the Vikings had Aaron Jones out. Like, I would worry about the Vikings pick if Aaron Jones was out, for instance. I just think there's levels to this shit. And I think Chase Brown is replaceable. They got Khalil Herbert, and obviously that's not a great option. And obviously Chase Brown is a young bull getting better every single snap, but I'm not going to panic about that. Hey, John, I like some first half spreads from Chris. Green Bay -7 first half. Ravens -12 first half. I'd rather go full game in the Green Bay one, but makes sense to me. Ravens -12 first half. Yeah, that can someone give me the current line for the Ravens first half so I can engage with it? Because neither of those sound right to me. That's not what I would set it. Erica sends a super chat. Best gambling show on the internet. Hit 3 parlays last week listening to you. Much love from Vegas. Thank you, Erica. I appreciate it. Don't spend all the money in one place, please. I know it's tempting. But January, why the fuck not? This is the time to go shopping. This really is the time to go shopping. I'm not a big shopper, but I'll tell you what, like I'm going to go buy some clothes for next year's video during January, by the way. Rake Flyer. Do you post AI comments? The worst thing about Pittsburgh is the city's rough roads with many potholes and construction zones as a major downside. Well, maybe the empty factory, maybe the lack of economic opportunity, maybe the shit weather, maybe the fact that it's high crime, maybe the fact that there's no opportunities for young, educated people there. I mean, I would say like the construction zones are the least of it. You mean like factories leaving and churning the rubble? Is that like, is construction zones a nice way of saying that for economic displacement, economic robbery from the local population, deindustrialization? I mean, the list goes on. I mean, I mean, Jesus. It's a grim city. I've been there. My dad took me to a game at Three Rivers Field. Alistair Hall. Hey, Lawson Claus. Happy New Year. What's your top picks? And you forgot KC versus Broncos. Alistair, you're on Patreon, my guy. I told you my two best bets. I told you my two best bets on Patreon. One of them, the line moved so much after I posted it. Alistair, let me just respond to your comment on there. We can't be giving away the best bets, okay? Top. I commented you there. And yeah, I would on that game, I would go On the Chiefs Broncos, yeah, my bad for missing over that. I'm actually a strong lean on Chiefs to cover. I am not underestimating people like Andy Reid or Sean McVay with a backup quarterback. Yeah, Mike, I will. I'm almost ready. I'm almost through Patreon questions. Yeah, buy green shirts. I could use a green shirt. Campbell, I do have some thoughts about that Georgia loss last night. Can I be honest? And if, college football fans, excuse me if I offend you, but I feel like all college football fans do is complain. Like, I just feel like college football is just about complaining. They complained about the BCS. They get a playoff. Now there's not enough teams, so they add more teams. Now there's too many teams. Now they didn't add the right teams. Now they favor one conference over another. Now they start bitching that the players aren't paid. Now they start bitching about NIL. It's just a never-ending circus of bitching. It's like we bitch about the Chiefs getting calls. What else do we really bitch about? Like on this show, like as NFL fans, do we even bitch that much? Like my dad's friends are Jets fans. Like I hear them bitch occasionally, but college football fans just spend the whole weekend fucking bitching. All they do is bitch. Can someone prove me wrong? Like all it is like a fucking like, it's worse than my wife's salon. Like it's just a bunch of people bitching about other people bitching. Like it's all it is. Yes, Alistair, we're doing MLB. Like, am I wrong on that? Or am I being harsh? Am I being harsh? Like, remember how much they used to bitch about the BCS? It's just... Then they bitch about Deion Sanders. And I'm like enjoying Deion Sanders. Like I said, I talked about my dad on the show last week. He's excited. He's watching the Colorado games. Like he's a Syracuse football fan. We don't got a lot. He's excited about the college football. He's excited to watch Colorado games. God forbid someone likes Deion Sanders. Everyone's got to bitch about it the whole time. Every time every time I enter X, Paul Feinbaum is finding a way to bitch about Deion Sanders. Like all he does is bitch. All they do is bitch. King James is right. And King James, I swear I saw you in a Vlad TV comment section, my guy. I swear I saw you in the Vlad TV comment section. Like, Jarrett, you're guilty too. Every time I looked at your Instagram, you're bitching at Florida State wasn't in it last year. It's just, I don't know, man. I guess it's part of the pageantry, but. It's like, yeah, man. Like if you say you enjoy Deion Sanders, they start bitching at you. Like, man, guy, I just turned on a Colorado game. Like, like it's like, guy. Seriously, no, like Rake. I entered Twitter the other day, and I know I made a mistake, but I entered Twitter the other day, and it's just. They're blaming like some like guy for the reason why Georgia lost because the ref threw a flag on them. They're down like a 20 piece in the first half, and they're blaming this kid who's too close to the sideline. It's so crazy, man. Yo, King James, I appreciate it. Yeah, okay, good. I'm on the Vlad TV comment section the whole fucking off season. That's the one thing I like about the off season. I'm gonna watch some Vlad TV interviews. I still haven't watched that little Woody one. Like that shit's gonna be crazy. All right, yeah, I'm gonna hit the like button. What's up, Wahid? I'm gonna get through the Patreon questions, then get Michael Mann and Chris on here. Opening lines will be up. Okay, Jarrett Hart. D-Gen 4-leg player prop. Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Yeah, I saw people wanting to bet the over 2.5 at plus 110. I felt like I just didn't like that price. I like the 1.5 passing touchdowns. Steelers have been better against the run. T. Higgins anytime touchdown. I would stay away from T because yeah, Mike Evans anytime touchdown. Yeah, bank that. Justin Jefferson anytime touchdown, bank it. But Jarrett, is there any way where you could just cycle Jamar Chase in there? Like maybe my read is wrong. Can someone who watches a lot of Steelers games answer my question? So I was working on the prop video and I went down a rabbit hole. From my understanding, Joey Porter Jr. lined up the whole game almost exclusively on T. Higgins because, like, listen, like, I just think Tomlin says, like, okay, they can move fucking Jamar Chase anywhere, either slot, they can move him X, they can move him Y. You know where T. Higgins is going to go every single play. So I feel like Tomlin's going to do the same thing. He's going to put Joey Porter Jr. on T. Higgins, and then Jamar Chase is going to have freedom. That would be my only gripe about it. But obviously T. Higgins is the bigger, better body in the actually. I would if I had to pick a target to throw to in the red zone, Jamar Chase. But I imagine the odds are a lot shorter, right? So, okay. And Alistair, this week is not rough, my man. We're gonna make money this week. We are gonna make money this week. I just don't want anyone doing anything crazy because we have to remember it's week 18. We have the playoffs. Think we're reading the board pretty good. Okay, Vaughn, when you move the no names to minus 13.5 or plus 300, by the time I got on it, it went to plus 240. Am I taking a risk on wanting to bet the no names minus 15 at plus 275? These books are dirty, man. These books are dirty. Someone before was saying I should just stop doing the YouTube videos and just have the Patreon and just do it that way. Because, like, man, that really was dirty because I woke up here's like the trajectory of my day. Like I woke up, took a bath. I listened to Dallas Talk Radio. I heard Trey Lance might get some snaps. I rushed to my fucking computer. I burrow over my dog to get to my computer to post the Commanders minus 4.5. I saw in some books it was minus 5. So I post that. I go for a walk, get a bike ride in, go to the upset video. I still see it's at minus 5. I do the configuration for the alt line. And yeah, the alt line came out for me, but sure enough, I come back to the computer and then it's up to minus 6.5 2 hours later. So that was the trajectory of my day. I would not do Commanders minus 15 at plus 275. I would not. Honestly, the 13.5 at plus 240 sounds more appealing to me. But yeah, it's like with the Tampa Bay alt line where we brought that plus 3 to minus 5, like that was a little bit stronger because people actually believed in the team we were getting against. So yeah, man. Daryl P. Hi, John. Hi, John. How strong do you feel about the Panthers Falcons over 47.5? Thanks. Very strong. I didn't get Michael Mann's opinion. He's going to come on the show once I get through the Patreon questions. But Daryl, I absolutely love this over. And you should just hang around the show for when Michael Mann goes off on this. But man, it's hard for me. I'm not seeing a world where the Falcons don't get to 30. And then it just comes down to what the Panthers are going to do as a dance partner. but I felt like it was the over under total of the week. Wheezy, hi Lawson. I really want to go hard on their first half Ravens game minus 12.5 for plus money. Your thoughts? Wheezy, what's the plus money? Are we getting like plus 140 or are we getting like plus 120? Guys, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. And I'm not like a big first half better. Okay, let me just do the math in my head. Guys, I'm not seeing why the Ravens don't have a 17-point lead going into the first half. I'm not seeing why. Okay, because yes, Myles Garrett's playing. I know some people say like the Ravens aren't good against man defense, but listen, the fucking Browns aren't covering anyone. Denzel Ward's out. Jerome Ford's out. Ravens defense has been playing top 8 football the last 6-7 weeks. Maybe it's due to opponents, but they've been playing a lot better. Bailey Zappi is obviously better than DTR, but guys, if the Ravens get the ball 5 times, at the very least, they got to get 3 scores, right? At the very least. I think Bailey Zappi is going to be a disaster. I do like the Jerry Jeudy over 48.5, but I think the game turns into a blowout. I can't advise you against it. But what's the line? Can someone give me the real line? Because how much is the plus money? Yeah, DeAndre. It just seems like if they get the ball 5 times in the first half, what's realistic time to get it? How many times can you get the ball in the first half? Normally, the team gets the ball between 11 to 14 times a game. So realistically, you can get it 6, especially if the Browns don't have any long drives. Yeah. So this Browns defense is really bad, guys. Okay, Vaughn, I inboxed you on Instagram not too long ago, but I dropped big money on the Ravens first half spread minus 12.5 plus 110. Sounds like a steal to me. Ass beating of the week. I think it's a good one. Moneyline repo. Yo, happy new year, Lawson. Can we bet these Packers to win or what? Yeah, like they're gonna win. I would lay the 9, 8.5, 9 with them. Hopefully it's not up higher. But that wouldn't be one I would lay. Like, that wouldn't be one I would lay, though. But, yeah, and my bad, my Instagram comments are, my Instagram messages are way fucking backed up. I mean, I'm fucking backed up completely on Instagram. Okay, I'm going to send the invite to Mike. We got to get Vaughn on. I wanted to hear about how that game at Foxborough was. It fucking sucked, man, seeing Drake take that hit early, though. And like that pass rush for the Patriots was absolute just that was a shame. That was an absolute shame. That defensive performance from the Patriots. Cows, I think you guys would know more than me. Like, I just know the Titans stink and they're a poorly coached team. I'm not watching the draft like you guys are. For me, I could care less because I've stuck to my point. I don't think teams tank. I don't think coaches tank. I think GMs tank. And the proof is in the pudding with the Giants last week. Okay. Rich says he got it at 10.5 on FanDuel. Yeah, I imagine it's moving up. I mean, that's a good find. And Chris, I'll send it to you on Patreon. Yeah, man, on Patreon, we got 3 soccer bets this week. 3 soccer bets this week. So one of them's Monday, but it's for big plus money, plus 150. Hopefully it doesn't move. Okay, I'm just looking for your Chris. Man, where is your 1 second, guys? 1 second. My bad. Fucking A, man. Fucking A. Okay, Chris, I'm going to send you the invite to your Patreon message box. But yeah, Von, I was quite curious how it was. I was quite curious how it was. I was very curious how it was. Okay. Yo, Mike,
Hey, what's up, bro?
What's up, dude?
How are you? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, man. Yeah, it looked like you had a good New Year's Eve.
I had a very lovely New Year's Eve.
Dude, but I gotta say, man, you actually had reason to go out for New Year's Eve. But I gotta tell you, man, like there was a time like when I was like 16 to like 24, I would drink and party every single day. The one day I would stay in with my dad and mom would be New Year's Eve, but you had reason and incentive to go out. But it's absolutely madhouse there.
Oh, dude. Okay, I'll tell you what. Like, I don't know. You're older than me, so you probably know this more than I do. When I was younger, like, under 20, even like up to 22, I could party all night. When we went out on New Year's Eve, I was tired by like 10:30. And then out of nowhere, like right before the ball dropped, I just rallied and then hit like the perfect peak of hammered.
Yeah, Mike, it's for me, man. Like that's why I don't drink alcohol because it hits me different.
Yeah.
It's more like a stimulant, and I'm the type like I drink, I can't stop, and it's just. But yeah, like I know what you're saying. Like I get fucking tired. I wake up early in the morning. And Chris, I sent you the invite, so I saw him enter. But anyways, like get. But anyways, Mike, glad you had a good New Year's Eve, and it wasn't your fault about the opening line.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's hilarious.
People were blaming you. My bad on that.
I just like how I like how people think that I am the essential ingredient to that video happening, as if you don't do every other video solo.
But Mike, it helps. That video,
it does help.
That video needs a dance partner. It's like doing a tango alone. I guess you could do it, but all right. So, but dude, this first before we get to this Panthers Falcons game. And Warren Flowers, what's up, my guy? Happy New Year. And before we get to this Panthers Falcons game, I got to tell you, man, this week is the reason why I need to do the opening lines, even though how tired I am. You know how excited we're going to be when we see those seedings and we get those spreads in our hands. It's like a little kid. It's like a little kid on Christmas. Oh, it's going to be good.
I already know. I already know teams I'm plotting against. I have targets in mind of literally exact matchups I am looking to anticipate and teams I'm willing to bet against. It's going to be sure to tune in for that Monday morning stream.
It's going to be good. It's the reason why, like, getting up, like, after, when I bet the Panthers and the Cowboys whipped their ass, when I had to take the walk of shame.
Yeah.
But it's the reason why it's worth it, because I think we're going to make money. I think it's going to help because we're going to see 2, 3, 4 point swings on some.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And here's something else too. And this is like very particular, but I'm worried about Jalen Hurts because he still hasn't cleared concussion protocol.
I'm worried about Jalen Hurts, period, if someone stops the Eagles' run game.
Yeah, that too, but still. I think Sirianni made the right decision not playing starters this week and just resting up for the playoffs. But still, like, I can't, as it stands right now, Hurts has not passed the protocol. And given that we're 2 weeks since it happened, that has to concern you a little bit, right?
Oh, I'm concerned about it. And also, I'm concerned about I'm also concerned about people overreacting for Saquon Barkley not breaking the record. Like he gets an extra game, so it's kind of like cheap as fuck, anyways. So who cares? But what's up, Chris?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Can you even see me?
Chris,
No, we
we can't see
can't.
you, but your mic is crystal, so let's roll with it.
Okay, got you. I don't know what's going on with my camera.
If you're on your phone and press camera, like in the bottom left corner, it should let you in.
Yeah, it's saying your browser has lost connection.
Oh, you're on the computer. Oh, yeah, you're in trouble.
No,
But his
I'm
mic's
on my
awesome.
phone. I'm on my phone.
Oh, you're on your phone. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? It's...
But anyways, let's get to the Carolina games. Just give me your take on that. I'll give you my take. I like the over on it. Maybe I'm a little bit nervous about them sending more blitzes. I don't know if you noticed with the Falcons the last 3 or 4 weeks, they are sending more blitzes, and I'm nervous about Panthers picking that up. I'm nervous about Bryce doing it. It's just if Bryce Young can be something of a dance partner, I think the Falcons get into the 30s here. So that's where I'm at.
So here's my deal with this game. One, I saw some people like trying to make this out to be an upset. And I don't see that at all. I think Falcons win this game fairly easily. I think they cover the 8. Listen, the Panthers are just too beat up to win this game on both sides of the ball. Losing Chuba Hubbard just completely shot their run game. Jonathan Brooks is already out for the year, so like you're not going to get anything on the ground. And then on defense, you have more practice squad level players starting than you do NFL caliber players on that defense. It's truly one of the most beat up units in the league right now. And I just can't see the Panthers coming together and stealing a win in Atlanta when they're fighting for their playoff lives.
And how are they going to stop the run?
And that's, by the way, on that, go bet for player props. Tyler Algier, go bet his over 35.5 because he's going to get snaps.
We already got both of those on the prop video. We're doubling.
Oh, you got them both? Okay, I haven't watched it yet.
I think
get both of them.
Same game parlay action for the Falcons. I think there's a way. Bar, go on, Chris.
Now okay, go ahead.
No, Mike, go on.
No, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead. You can finish.
Well, I was gonna say as far as the over under goes, I think the move there is to go Falcons total points. I don't think going the over 48 is the way to go. Simply because, like I said, not having Chuba Hubbard was a big loss for the Panthers, and it showed last week against Tampa. Now, granted, the Falcons don't have as good as a pass defense, but when your only weapon, on the outside is Adam Thielen, you can't really trust any other option. That's a heck of a lot to bet on, when you're trying to push an over-under to 48. So, and Bryce can do all he can. Like, I thought Bryce played pretty well last week, all things considered. But when you only have one target to throw the ball to and no run game, it's hard to get anything accomplished.
I think the Falcons, when I looked at them earlier today, were 29.5.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. All right, go on, Chris.
I got 9 with Atlanta. They're giving 9 where I'm at. I don't know if you guys are still down with that. I mean, I don't know if that extra point's going to swing any persuasion. I don't think it is. The Falcons need this game, and they need the Bucs to lose. So I think they're going balls to the wall. I love Bijan in that parlay. Also, I know you have that on your prop video. I don't think 9 is too much. I think Atlanta's going to play hard the whole way through, and not even take a look at the scoreboard because they need to win this game regardless. So I like them to cover the 9. And again, like what Mike was saying, I don't know if they're going to have a dance partner in terms of getting to the 48. Although I think I'm going to stay away from the total. But I do like the parlay with the running backs from Atlanta, and I do like Atlanta -9.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But all right. Go on with what games you guys want to talk about. I kind of want to hear everyone's take on the Vikings-Lions game.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Let's just go right there.
Okay, we can go right there. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's a matter of it's going to be a race to 30, and then it's going to be who is going to stop who first. I think that I think Minnesota has the better D, and I think they're going to get 1 or 2 more stops than Detroit, and that's what's going to be the difference. But I see this game going over the 56. That's one of my best plays of the week. I know nobody wants to go over 50, but I mean, I could see this going into like 70 something points. I think it's going to be a complete score fest. I definitely think Detroit gets into the 30s, but I think Minnesota is going to score even more points. I think it's going to be like a 60 something point game. So I'm taking the over 56. And if I had to pick a winner, it's going to be like a field goal, I think, at the end, and I think it's going to be Minnesota. Um, I got Minnesota. Actually, what is it? Minnesota giving? No, the Lions are giving a 2.5. So I'm definitely taking Minnesota with the 2.5 and over the 56.
Yeah,
Yeah, go on, Mike.
I'll tell you what, man. This is one of those rare games where I've really like struggled to get a take on. Like I've done some deep thinking about this. I was thinking about this on New Year's when I had no business thinking about it on New Year's. Um, I have Vikings to win and cover simply because, like you've been saying all week, the matchups favor them. But let me tell you, I am scared to death to bet it, and I certainly don't think it's a lock candidate by any means for two reasons. One, if this game goes to a shootout, if you're telling me this game goes into the 30s and the final score is like 40-37, I like Detroit a lot more to manage that situation. You know, they have a lot more experience in shootouts. They have a lot more weapons they can go to. Their ground game, I think, is actually going to be
A
effective.
lot more weapons.
I think Jameson, well, they don't. Here's the thing. So I don't think the Vikings are going to be able to run the ball. And I think that's a huge, in a shootout where you're going
Are
back
the
and
Vikings
forth.
even trying to run the ball though? Like
I
every
think it's
time
gonna,
they ran the ball
set up
against
their
the
play action
Packers, they
pass.
ran
So.
it.
I mean, but listen, and I'm the biggest Sam Darnold lover there is. I started the Sam Darnold bandwagon, like, you know, but if you're telling me I have to pick him to outscore the best unit in football in a shootout, that's a tough thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it. It's just here's the thing. Detroit's kind of been getting gashed on the ground, and because firstly, like, aren't their two defense tackles still out? I mean, the whole
Yes, they
defensive
are.
line's
So
out.
they've
So
done fairly
I think
well.
that them running the ball is going to set up the play action pass, and that's what's going to open up Amon St. Brown, who's been quiet, and Jameson's been getting a lot more targets lately, and I think it's because they I'm sorry. When Minnesota runs the ball, it's going to open up the play action pass, and they're going to be able to open up those passing lanes to get the balls out to their receivers. If they don't run the ball, then I think Detroit's going to run away with this game.
So you can look at the last like 3 or 4 games Detroit has played. The one thing they've really still done pretty decently on defense is stop the run. And the Vikings, go ahead.
Why would you run the ball against them? Every time the 49ers did like a misdirection, play action, fake, Brock Purdy was just dumping it off for like 20 yards to Kittle. Why would you even run it against
And
them?
I'm not endorsing that plan. My thing is like
I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah, I'm going
NBA
NBA style, like you said. Like you're telling me to pick Sam Darnold over the monstrosity that is Detroit's offense in a shootout. Like, and that's just tough to do. So now I do have Vikings winning and covering. I do think they get enough stops from their defense. Something that was really underrated from the first game that I don't think is going to happen again is Ben Johnson took Brian Flores to school for about 2 quarters. And it really kind of cost the Vikings that game, I thought, because their offense picked the worst time to stall out in that game. And by the time they got back in it, it was damn near too late. So I think Brian Flores is going to call a much better game in this one. I think he's going to have some answers for that Detroit offense. And listen, if you can just get 3-4 stops against them, that might be enough.
But look at how much better that Detroit defense was in that first matchup.
Oh, I'm with you.
It's crazy. And I don't think they're going to be able to hit Sam Darnold. So that's what I'm saying. If he just stands back there with no one hitting him, no one breathing on him, no one putting hands on him, I don't know, man. And we saw him try to give the game away against Green Bay. So that's what I worry about. I worry about the turnovers. But then again, the Vikings have forced a turnover every single game this year.
And here's another matchup that should make you happy. So David Montgomery will not be in this game. He is a far superior blocking running back to Jahmyr Gibbs. And if you're telling me Flores is sending blitzes at Detroit for the entire game and that running back is going to have to pick up a linebacker, that could be a big difference to watch. Well, in terms of getting sacked, in terms of getting like, a fumble or a possible pick.
Well, Mike, here's something I think in the game that might help the Vikings. I think the Vikings are going to just let them like move the ball down the field. And I think the Vikings are going to just play too deep. They're not going to let them get any big plays. And I worry about this Lions scheme. Like maybe Aaron Glenn changes up, maybe he goes zone, maybe he changes things up. But man, so far Lions haven't changed shit up. They're not getting a pass rush, and they're going like press man to man on teams. It's wild.
And oh my gosh, I meant to tell you. Did you see what Teron Armstead said about the Vikings offense this week?
What he said?
He said that the Lions match up very well for Detroit. Or I'm sorry, the Lions match up very well for Minnesota. And
you're talking about Terrion Arnold, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I got the wrong name. He said something like that they're a bad matchup for you guys, and I'm like, I think you're an idiot.
Well, and he's going to be matched up 1-1 on the island against Justin Jefferson, and they play some of the most single high in the league. Man, it's tough against the Vikings, man. Like, I think the Vikings have more dogs on offense. Laporte has kind of been a disappointment this year. I think Hawkinson, they got them in that matchup. Like, I actually like Jameson Williams more than Addison, but play for play, consistency wise, I'd go Addison. Although I love Jameson Williams, so I'm not going to go there. I just don't think this is Jameson Williams' game. Because, like I said, I think the Vikings are going to sit in too deep, make him dink and dunk, and maybe try to get pick Goff off over the middle. It's an Amon-Ra St. Brown game. That's what I worry about. I think
it's going to be an Amon-Ra St. Brown game also. So basically, you're thinking that a Minnesota strategy on defense is to play a soft zone until they get down the field and then tighten up in the red zone and try to stop them down in the red zone to keep them the field goals.
That's what I think. And I think the Vikings are going to just kind of not let them run the ball, but I think the Vikings are going to try to get the Lions to make mistakes. And like you said, matriculate the ball down the field slow. The Lions have been getting a ton of explosive plays, which like that's been Jameson Williams like the last 6-7 weeks. I don't think they're going to let that happen. But yeah, man, I'm a little bit worried about Sam Darnold. Like, I'm sure you guys saw that interception that brought the Packers back into the game. Yeah. You worry about that. Like, he didn't need to throw that. He had a guy underneath. It was a good play call. It is what it is, man.
Well, Goff can throw some interceptions too.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. So Jared Goff, if you look at his games and his game logs, you take away 2 games where he has a combined 7 interceptions. He's thrown 3 picks on the year. So he's just had 2 really crappy games that have like really kind of skewed his stats. Like, I don't think he's a big turnover worthy threat that he used to be. And he's been kind of on a hot streak over the last month.
But Mike, I think like because no one hits him. And
that is true.
No one hits him. And he's able to stand back there and scan. I'm curious just to watch it. So I think I didn't even look at the betting splits. I see like 88% of the bets are on the Lions. I didn't think it would be that. I didn't think I was out on any sort of island with this.
Yeah. Well, if it goes to 3.5,
even more.
I know if it goes to 3.5, I will, I will close my eyes and bet Minnesota for the 3.5.
Yeah. I just think like with the 3, just think, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain math to people. When you have an over of like 56, 57.5, if you got like Minnesota plus 2.5 or Minnesota plus 3, you're just better off going fucking money line when you're at like a total that high, like for me. But
there's so many degenerates who are lining up to bet the over on that game.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm going to bet it.
I'm thinking about it too. Like, I really just want to do it for the hell of it.
I also like a couple of props. I like Jared Goff to over 35.5 pass attempts. And I like Goff and Darnold over 1.5 passing TDs.
I like the completions totals. Because like you said, I think both teams are going to be trying to make their team dink and dunk down the field. And when you're doing that, that really sets up for a lot of completions.
I see a 34-31 type game in here.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So anyways, any last words on it? Mike, I thought you would be lining up to bet the Vikings here because, man, you got like a fucking second string defense pretty much.
I know, but listen, this Detroit offense is the best unit in the NFL, bar none.
I don't think they're the best offense. Like, they're the most consistent. I don't think they're the best. I would go Ravens.
I don't know. They're up there.
Maybe talent wise. But I think the Ravens have had too many like we're gonna shit the bed moments this year to
Well, if
really
you go
like take
position
them over
by
Detroit.
position, if you go receivers, you have Justin Jefferson, but I mean, if you look at both receivers on Detroit, you're thinking that Minnesota has better.
Oh no, I don't think the Vikings have a better offense, but I don't think Detroit's the best offense.
We're talking in the league.
I mean, data wise, the Bengals are the best offense in the league.
I'm also scared of Ben Johnson and what he's gonna.
I don't know.
I feel like
I
Ben,
like Detroit's running backs better. Than
of course.
Yeah, I do too. I'm scared of Ben Johnson. I think like in this game, like he's gonna have some shit ready to go for this matchup.
I don't know.
He's gonna.
Did he against San Fran when he had
he had that lateral he had that lateral. Oh, no. You're talking about the championship.
Oh, I'm talking about I'm not talking about like.
I'm talking Monday night
score on the Titans or the Cowboys. Like I'm talking about 4th and 3 with your season on the line, and there wasn't much dialed up in those games, and everyone blamed Dan Campbell for going for it.
Well, I'm going to say this. You need to watch out for Dan Campbell in this game and some type of fuckery that goes on with some type of trick play, especially on special teams. I think there's going to be some kind of special teams trick play or some kind of something out of the ordinary, and that's going to throw the game off a little bit.
And that's why
he hasn't really done it all year. You know what I'm saying? He's maybe done it once or twice. I think this is an open spot for him to do that.
I worry about getting a lead, then taking the foot off the gas pedal like they did 2 times against Green Bay, like they did numerous times. Remember the whole first half of the season, Mike? They'd be up like 30 points, and then they'd almost lose the game. So,
which betting on the Vikings those weeks was very fun.
Yeah, I know. Well, remember the Bears?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But no, Chris, to your point though, like that's why I favor the if this game turns into like both teams have 30 plus points, like that's why I kind of like Detroit in that situation because I trust Dan Campbell to manage a shootout better.
You see, I'm not betting the spread on this game. I'm not picking a money line. I'm not picking a winner. I'm going D-Gen and I'm going over 56.
I want to do it so bad, man. I'm really considering it.
Yo, I
enjoyed this game.
I missed a super chat. Hey, David McCarthy. My bad, man. My bad, Dave. Hey, John, I always lose. And since I joined your Patreon last week, I already won 4 parlays. Thank you for the great picks. Dave, welcome to the winner's circle.
You got to give me Dave's number so I can start hitting some parlays. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. It is what it is. Like, I was almost on the long shot video. I almost gave like a 6-team parlay, but I was able to find the Commanders' alternative line. I think I bet 3 all year, and that I actually put money on and hit 1, and then I mentally bet like another 12 and hit none of them. So that's the reason why I don't bet parlays. And I learned that from you, John, about 4 years ago when I was in New York. I got you on a question. My first question to you was why don't you like parlays? Give me a reason why you don't like parlays. And then you explained to me that they have a 2% chance of hitting a 3-team parlay at 6-1. And then I was like, oh, is that why I don't win?
Yeah, the plus 800 is a 1.8% chance. Most are over plus 800, right? So I know the plus 800 has a 1.8% chance.
Every single gambling freaking site, when they're advertising, it's all about parlays. Put your parlay in here. Because they know they're just gonna take your money.
My thing is, I don't like betting spread parlays. I think the way to go is player
money
prop
line.
Parlays. Well, not even that. I'm saying player prop parlays and do parlays that or do picks that bounce off each other. For example, if you're gonna go and bet Sam Darnold over 275 yards, you might as well go ahead and bet whatever his total pass attempts or completions is as well.
Well, Mike, that would actually make sense.
That's what you should do.
That's what I was trying to build for the Falcons game. I actually might post one that I'm building for the Falcons game, but it has to follow a script, and you have to view a script in your head, and some people can't visualize that.
Right. Whatever you're putting in that parlay has to bounce off each other. You can't go and bet 3 separate games that have nothing to do with one another.
They don't coincide with anything.
Yeah, exactly. There's like Lawson said, there's no script there. There's no master plan where all the picks are connecting. So, yeah. That's my take on parlays.
The script goes wrong, and I even said on Patreon, the Chargers are either going to blow them out or the Patriots are going to. I felt like there's no in between, and because every game has multiple scripts, and no, it's not fixed. It's just NFL's fucking
Have you
nuts.
guys about this whole fix thing? Have you seen this YouTube channel, Jake the Asshole? Have you seen that?
No, I
No,
haven't.
I don't like entertaining that stuff, Chris. And secondly, I had a guy on, like, he is kind of, when I did the old podcast, we had a guy on named Brian Toohey, and he gives the he's written books, written like 6 books, been in Sports Illustrated.
Oh, about the guy that says bet narratives and things that are happening within society that would, like for instance, like when the hurricane happened down in New Orleans, that's the reason why they won, that type of stuff.
He does a little bit of that, but he
He's on
also
Joe
says
Rogan.
he also kind of says like it's like fixed because like he uses proof of how boxing was, and then he connects dots, and then like he keeps going and he shows how low the referees are paid. But most of these referees are like $200,000, $300,000, like orthodontists and lawyers on the side. So like
So they need the extra money.
It just doesn't add up, and it doesn't add up, and. But yeah, man, it's a tough game to bet, and not everyone wins, and so we look for excuses.
I think we're going to see
banned
some.
off his channel because I said, well, if the games are fixed, then I'm doing pretty well because I've been hitting. And he goes, well, send me some of your tickets, and I sent him some of the tickets, and then he started calling me names like fanboy and stuff like that. So I got into an argument with him, and he like blocked me off his channel. So whatever.
But Zamora, I would go Minnesota money line because if you wanted to pick to get on Minnesota, because like I said, when you're up in this territory, I don't want to walk you through the math because you don't want to do that. I certainly don't want to do that. But once you get up over like a spread of like 53, 54, I just think the spread throws out. You got to pick a winner. So that's where I'm at. I will go Minnesota money line if you had to choose. If you think if that's the side you want to put your money on. All right, let's get to the other games.
Well, so the interesting, and this is why Week 18 is the degenerate game, the week of the degenerate, so to say. I feel like there are only 2 games where we know both teams are going to be playing their ass off.
Bengals and Steelers.
Yes, exactly. That's Bengals and Steelers and Vikings Lions. No other team.
I'm not sure the Steelers are going to be playing their ass off because the market's saying they're not.
I think they're going to at least give it a shot.
But Mike,
here's the thing.
What's the market saying to you?
So
it's at Heinz Field.
My thing is, I think if you're one of those AFC wild cards, you are lining up to try to play Houston, and that's why the Steelers, I think, are going to try to win this game.
I would.
Now, I don't think they will, but like that's why I think they're going to at least give a good effort.
I think the Bengals are like 4% chance to win, 4% chance to make the playoffs right now.
Yeah, and honestly, I think you're going to. I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City just says, look, we need to lose this game no matter what and let Denver into the playoffs just so we can keep the Bengals and Dolphins out.
Yeah, Mike, I'm not sure it functions that way. Like, I don't think Carson Wentz is going to go out there, and I think
he's going to play for a contract, and I think he's going to go out there and light it up. I think that KC covers that 10.5.
I love KC on the 10.5. I would not bet it. There's other stuff to bet this week. But, like, I agree with Mike. That's why this week is so weird. Like, you get games like Jets and Miami where one team needs it, and the
other team doesn't.
Yeah, it's the week of the degenerate. There's not one team that doesn't want Miami in the playoffs right now.
Over Cincinnati?
Yeah, Miami's way worse than Cincinnati. I mean,
definitely.
Why wouldn't the league, the AFC, not want Miami in the playoffs?
So the Ravens, Bills, or I'm sorry, I don't think it was the Ravens. I read somewhere that like 2 or 3 of the big powerhouse teams in the AFC have all lost to the Bengals in the playoffs over the last few years. Like the Bills lost to them a few years ago. The Chiefs obviously lost the AFC Championship to them. So none of those powerhouse teams want to see the Bengals get in there. So that's why I'm saying, like, go ahead.
My favorite bet of all time was when we had the Bengals +6 and the snowstorm in Ralph Wilson Stadium, and the Bengals blew them out.
And it completely killed them. Yeah, that was a fun one.
That was fun.
That was a good day.
But yeah, man, that's what this week is for me. One team needs it, one team doesn't. Like, I also kind of think about like the Chiefs one. I actually would if I get one message across before I go, I want people to be cautious on laying points at the Seahawks or putting the Seahawks on any sort of parlay money line. I'm telling
How
you,
can
that's
you
going to
bet?
be.
How can you bet the Seahawks when you actually saw, Geno Smith play a game of who can get to the 50-yard line first in that awful fucking game that we just watched, where it
Oh
was
my
6-3. Okay,
dude,
it
that
was
I
was like
like
know.
the
it was like
perfect.
it was
That
like
was
how
the
can you play a fucking worse fucking offensive game on both sides of the ball? It was disgusting. Actually, if I was the GM of the Seahawks, I would tell my coach, listen, make sure you run the ball 60 fucking times so this piece of shit does not get my $3 million contract.
dude.
Okay.
That Bears Seahawks game was like the perfect conclusion to Thursday Night Football for the year. Am I wrong? Like, could you think of
No.
a more
No.
typical Thursday Night Football game than Seahawks and Bears go out there? I lost brain cells watching that
How
game.
dare Geno Smith play like that?
Oh
You know what I'm
my
saying? Like,
gosh.
I mean, you can't score 8 points. You can't score 9 points. 6-3. That was like me watching like the Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles on a May afternoon.
And then you have the
No.
Bears offensive line. And listen, I love dunking on Caleb Williams, but my gosh, that Bears offensive line was out there for cardio against Seattle. That was pathetic what they
Light
did. They were
cardio.
really bad.
They're
Very
Yeah,
not
light,
light
like a
blocking
brisk
cardio.
for
walk.
him. They're not blocking for
I
him.
know, they're not even trying for him.
It's
Why
not
would you
even his
want to
fault
block
at this
for him?
point, though. It's not. I mean,
Oh no, no, no,
I'm
no,
not saying
no,
he's
no.
good. I'm not saying he's good.
Anyone threw a block for Drake May this year? I mean, I've seen more Olays by the Patriots offensive
Okay, well,
line
Drake
than a
May
fucking
is a franchise quarterback. Okay,
yeah. Caleb Williams does not belong in the league.
he's not a
And
he's not a he's a bust. I knew he was going to be a bust when he started painting his fingernails and he was crying in his mom's arms on camera. You know what I'm saying? That's when I knew he was going to be a bust. I'm not even
it's
playing. I'm not even playing. But what I'm saying is, if you maybe they're not blocking for him because they don't like him. But he doesn't know how to get rid of the ball. He doesn't know how to get out of the pocket. He has no pocket presence, and they're letting the defensive line and the ends in on him almost on purpose. So I mean, when I say it's not his fault completely, it's because he has literally no time.
I
I'm
think
not gonna.
the team reached their limit with him week 9 or week 10.
Yeah,
That's probably
When did
true.
DJ Moore say he wanted Badger in? Wasn't that like week 9, week 10? I mean, it feels like centuries
Oh.
ago, but I mean, I don't think DJ Moore would say that. Like, anyways.
I think he's still. I think there's still hope for Caleb Williams. I mean, you can't deny his talent. Like some of the throws he's
I
able to
can.
make are just. I mean,
How do you not call a timeout like that? I mean, you're sitting there. You can't watch the clock. You don't know what you're doing.
I don't. I'm not defending that. Like, yeah, he messed that up. I'm not gonna defend him. But my point is, listen, like we've seen a lot of quarterbacks like have resurgences to their careers, and Caleb Williams has had one of the worst situations in the league over the last year. And if he just gets the right coach, I feel like you can save this.
Is this worse than Justin Fields' situation? You remember the wide receivers they gave Justin Fields and the offense line they gave
It's
Justin
the same
Fields?
Dude,
organization. It's an organization. It's an organizational thing. They don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing. Okay, I mean, you take a look at Brett Favre and Steve Young. They both, started with Tampa Bay, which were horrible organizations, and then they got away from that, and then they became Hall of Fame quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I guess there is, I mean, under the right, tutelage in coaching, but where he is now is a dead end street. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know how to groom quarterbacks over there in Chicago.
I'm with
I
you.
don't know.
We're gonna know.
Goes there, so like I don't know if a good coach goes there. I'm curious where Ben Johnson goes in the coaching carousel. So that's why.
Well, he's been connected to Chicago.
Would you
be
want to
an
go there? I
interesting
mean, he didn't
offseason,
take
that's
the
for sure.
Commanders interview last year. Remember that they were mid-flight to see him, and he said thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
So, but
I
yeah,
don't know. They need to nail the coach though. If they hire like Mike McCarthy or something like that, like it's over.
Yo, Gennaro, happy New Year, Daniel. All right, what games you want to talk about before we go?
Well, let's go over that. Let's go over that Bengals game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's you got Bengals minus 2.5 at this point. I got it in early at 1.5, which I'm feeling good about. And over under 47.5. Since he has to win, I also like some player props. Burrow pass attempts and TDs. I see the Bengals winning by I don't know 28-24 or something like that.
I don't get why the spread is as low as it is. I feel like it should be Bengals like -4 or 5.
But Mike, you just said you think the Steelers are going to try.
I know. I think they're going to try. I think the Bengals are that much better. The Steelers have played like shit the last few weeks.
But Mike, okay.
I know,
right.
but does Tomlin allow them to lose 4 in a row? Does that happen in a real world?
I
Well,
mean,
I don't
he
know.
started.
That's what I was trying to say early in the show. Like, I don't know how to respond to stuff like that because at a certain point, it's about people on the field, and the guys on the field just aren't really good. And it's
I'm
been that
looking.
issue.
I'm looking at this as if, sorry to interrupt, I'm looking as if both teams are going in here to win this game. And if I'm doing that, I think the Bengals win by more than 4 or 5 points. Look at how bad the Steelers have played. And even the Bengals, like, okay, their defense, it's not good. We know it's not good, but they have played NFL caliber defense over the last few weeks. They're a lot better than they were like week 8. So I think you can work with that. And I don't think the Steelers are going to put up 40 again or something crazy like that. I don't think they're going off in this game. So you give me that. You give me the Bengals like fighting for their playoff lives, and with Joe Burrow at quarterback and able to air it out. I think they're going to win this by more than 4.
And like Steven Bradshaw says, I thought that last time, Mike, and I lost my ass. I mean, Steve, I did.
That game was bullshit. That game was bullshit.
I know it was bullshit,
was...
and I have to answer for that. And I told everyone, this is like, I don't want you betting this. Like,
the Steelers are not putting up 44 fucking points again.
I know.
If that happens,
how lucky do you need to be to get 150 receiving yards from running backs in a game? How does that happen? And honestly, like I already told people, I said, I don't expect you to follow me here. I see Michael Mann write a comment, Lawson, why are you doing this? But even with that being said, it's just like, it's like, fuck. You go with the better team, you go with the better quarterback, and I do think the Steelers are overrated. Like I've been saying it all year.
If the Steelers put up 40 points on the Bengals again, I'm missing the show on Sunday night. That's the deal. We're not doing the show Sunday night.
I'm fucking betting tennis.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with the regular season. You will not see an early spreads pick on Sunday night if the Bengals give up 40 points again.
So that my Bengals pick is a lot. Well, that's awesome. Fucking great.
Chris, it's like you already know what you're running into. Like we lost money when we made the perfect pick of the year to get against the Chargers with the Bengals, and
I remember vividly.
Yeah. Oh, how can we forget? I'm still seeing those 3 missed field goals in my head. And like it was such a great performance from Joe Burrow too. By the way, like that's what makes it such a shame. But yeah, man, it is what it is. You know what you're getting into with the Bengals. It's bad. I don't even think it's bad coaching. I really don't. I know everyone.
How do you coach 3 missed field goals?
I know.
Yeah.
And like I got on Zach Taylor earlier for like him playing for like a 55-yard field goal against Baltimore. Like I'm fine with getting on him for stuff like that, but luckily he came through for us and just fucking threw the touchdown.
Well, I will say what he did against the Broncos was stupid.
Oh, with the sneak. Yeah.
Well, scoring. They could have taken a knee and kicked a game-winning field goal, and not even let that go as far as it did.
That's bad coaching. That's coaching right there.
Yeah, it was, but then again, like someone needs to play a little bit of defense.
Well, and here's what this is not a Bengals rarity. This has pissed me off the entire year. These coaching staffs are so bad at clock management and using their timeouts this year. It's unbelievable. Like you just saw the Falcons do it this past week on Sunday night. Like, listen, you could get an above-average Madden player, and they could manage the clock better than some of these NFL coaches. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man, it's game theory. They should just go take a political science class or go to take a military class and just learn game theory. And that's really all you need to learn.
Or just play Madden for a few days and, learn when to use timeouts and stuff like that.
So the clock don't run out on you.
I mean, you're everything you do in practice throughout the week comes down to these games, and you're telling me my fucking coach can't manage the clock?
Yeah, he's staring
at
you while the
Raheem Morris was another one. Raheem Morris was terrible on Sunday night at that.
All right, let's move. Let's move fast, guys. I know Lawson's got to go. Saints in Tampa. I got freaking Tampa -8 first half, -14 for the game. I like both those picks. Over under 43.5. I'm not going to touch the over under, but I'm liking both. -8 for the first half and -14 for the whole game. I also like Mike Evans over the yards. But I like Tampa Bay to cover both first half and the complete game. 8 and 14.
That's one I'm avoiding, but I get it. It makes sense to me.
I don't want to touch like we talked about. I don't want to touch a lot of these games where we're not certain if a team is going to try.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me though. The first half seems good, but first half seems really good. I wonder if it could still get that 8. But yeah, like if I had to go, like I've been debating, like if I had to go between the Bucs or the Falcons, I would probably go to Falcons. But Panthers are obviously more dangerous than the Saints at this point.
All right, how do you feel
So-
about Green Bay -10 for the total for the game and -7 for the first half?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I would just be like, do we need to bet that?
Yeah, I'll close my eyes and pick the Packers if I have to.
Yeah,
But
that makes sense to me. And I think they're going to come out and kick their ass. That would just be one where I would be like, do I really need to bet this?
yeah,
So we need to narrow this down to basically like 2 games for the week and just go heavy on those 2
Yeah.
games.
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good about my bets that I got up. There's one I wanted to add, but but yeah, like I don't even want to post too much because I know someone's going to do something fucking insane on Patreon.
Can you explain to me why the Texans are -1?
because the Texans are ass. That's why.
No, but Mike,
They are ass, bro. That's the worst. You know what? They showed. You know, we were talking about that Geno Smith game when both of those quarterbacks couldn't get past the 50. And then there was the Rattler game where he got shut out, and people were saying, "Wow, can we see any worse quarterback play?" And then CG Stroud was like, "Fuck that, guys, hold my beer," and then went out and fucking scored 0 points.
why-
and then went on
Chris,
and then had a safety, right?
Why is everyone so mad? We have
the.
the Ravens ticket. Why is everyone so mad? We have the Ravens ticket.
Y'all thought it was jokes. Y'all thought it was jokes when I was saying Bryce Young is
Don't get me
better than
wrong.
CJ Stroud.
I did fuck up. I had separate bets. I took the Ravens straight, and I took Kansas City straight. I hit on both, but then I got fucking cute, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play again and fucking and see. I was gonna take the fucking over and the game, and I hit the game, but the over fucking went under because they scored 2 fucking points on a safety. He couldn't score a fucking touchdown, 2 field goals, nothing. They couldn't score 8 fucking points. So I digress.
But yeah, with the Texans, I think they're actually gonna go pretty hard in the game. But like, there's no evidence. I just think D'Amico Ryans had a similar thing in his head that you just said on air. So I think D'Amico Ryans is going to push them out there and make them play and get some rhythm, which is probably what the Rams should be doing, because they're not looking great themselves against the Seahawks. So
Yeah. All jokes aside, I do think Texans win and cover, and I actually think that's a solid bet.
I think it is. Like I don't want to do it. Like I already have other stuff I'm doing, as you guys saw on Patreon, but I was seriously thinking about that because I want to get against Callahan any chance I can get.
Yeah, I'm kind
get
of thinking the
against him.
Bengals is where it's at. I mean, it's right now it's at 2.5. I got it at 1.5. I might bet it again. I like the Ravens first half. It's 12. I know someone was saying it's 10. I don't see it anywhere at 10. It's at 12. And then I'm going to look at some player props, and I'm going to call it a day this week and wait for the playoffs.
Yeah, man. Some good get. But yeah, man. It's
Week of the degenerate.
Mike, I want to pick your brain on something. What do you think about the Rams beating the Seahawks?
I mean,
can't you see it?
that's so tough, man.
But
I can see it.
Remember how many games McVay's won with a backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Remember when he won a game?
Didn't they take San Fran down to the wire just last year?
Yeah, remember when he won a game? He took Baker Mayfield off the street with like fucking.
Oh yes,
I swear, like I'm not exaggerating. 2, 3, 4 at most days of practice, and they won a game. And
yeah,
I think Geno's going to throw 2 picks because they're going to try to force him to throw the ball so he can get this money. And they're not covering the 6.5.
Can someone explain to me too?
Like, says the jury's still out on Bryce. Like, listen, I feel like maybe it's because I glaze Stroud so much, but I feel like you guys were like just waiting to go in on Stroud.
Stroud sucks.
Well, I've been going in on Stroud.
Stroud really sucked.
I was going in on Stroud since last year. Like even when he was playing well, I was going against Stroud. Well, I probably shouldn't have, but still.
When you
Yeah,
have three top end receivers
my
like that,
thing was-
anybody looks good. I could throw the
right,
ball
and that was
three
my
top
thing
end
the whole
receivers.
time. Like my thing was he
what
never.
top end receivers last year? What he had Nico Collins. Like there's no top end
Tank
receivers.
Dell
Tank
was
Dell
good
was
last year.
playing. Yeah, Tank Dell was
everyone
playing
thought-
like.
Everyone thought Nico Collins was a bum going into last year.
No, he's
Nico-
a big
No.
body that gets down the field, and when he catches the ball, nobody could tackle him.
But look at Nico Collins' career before he got service from Stroud.
That's
Look at
because
his
nobody.
career.
Because that's
I mean-
coaching. Nobody put him in the right spot, and he was in the right spot with the Texans.
Yeah, and their offensive coordinator, I forget his name off the top of my head. He was a
Okay.
lot better last year too. But that was my thing with Stroud. Like I just felt like last year he never overcame adversity in big situations.
You know what? He
Like, and
the
you know-
league has figured them out.
When did he ever overcome adversity in big situations?
Okay,
Like, I'm
let's
saying when the
bring
chip
up
is down-
Listen, I won so much money on the Texans last year. Let's just bring up the Texans schedule last year.
Let's do it.
How about the last game when everyone was telling me to bet the Colts?
The league
and
figured him
Stroud
out.
Went into Indianapolis and beat them with the division on the line.
Oh, you mean didn't Jonathan Taylor drop like the touchdown that would have won the game?
It wasn't Jonathan Taylor, but the Texans
Yeah, somebody
got
did.
better that game.
And the Colts are stupid. By the way, Colts are the dumbest team in the league. I
The
just want to get
sophomore
that off my
slump
chest.
is real. Teams figure you out. I mean, they watch film and they
Yeah,
figure
man.
out.
It's like it's no need to overreact. Like obviously, it wasn't a great performance. Let me bring up the schedule for Michael now.
I'm just pissed off
Yeah.
that they didn't hit my 2-team parlay.
But I get you. Okay, so I'm bringing it up. Okay, so I think unfortunately it's going to this year's schedule when I typed in. Okay,
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, well, they did beat the Browns 45-14 in the playoffs, and the Browns are an absolute train. We can't really use hindsight bias on that because the Browns were very lucrative last year.
Didn't the Browns have a good defense last year?
Well, they were the
defense in
weirdest
the league.
defense I've ever seen. They were like great some weeks, and then they would do that.
But they did some weird stuff on the road. Stroud beat the Bengals last year. He had that bad game against the Panthers.
The Bengals game was good. Yeah, I'll give him that one.
But yeah, like he beat the Steelers 30-6. I remember the
Browns game was
Steelers
good
were
too.
laying 5 points on the road to Houston. Then he completely obliterated the Steelers. That was a pretty big spot. But yeah,
Well,
man, there's
when I say
spots.
yeah, and maybe I should have clarified. When I say overcome adversity, I mean like show me film last year where the line wasn't blocking great for him, where the receivers were not getting open. He was throwing dudes open. Show me where the coordinator wasn't scheming guys wide open down the
Yeah,
field.
but
Just
he
felt
was
like
a
lot of
rookie,
that.
though. He was a rookie.
I know he was rookie,
Mike,
but that was why I wasn't
Did
overreacting.
you see how many offensive line injuries they had last year? They had the whole first 8 weeks of the season. They used the most offensive line combinations in the league.
And yet they still put up 40 points on Myles Garrett to end the year and had him pretty well locked down for most
Because
of
they
that
didn't
game.
know who he was yet. My argument is if he was a really good quarterback, he would come in his second year and show up his first year. But he was a clown this year, and I understand he had some injuries and all that, but it's been really, really bad. It's been, some when you're a really good quarterback, you persevere and you're able to, next man up, with your receivers, offensive line, and whatever. You figure things out. He has figured nothing out. The league has figured him out, and thus he's had a shit year, and he's been bad in a lot of.
I don't think it's been a shit year. Like I don't. How is that a shit year? It's been about league average year. Secondly, yes, there's variance in his play. Like I have a friend who says, when you bet CJ Stroud, he plays like Mahomes. When I bet CJ Stroud, he plays like Blake Bortles. Like, yeah, like there is a little bit of truth in that. Like there is a little bit of truth, but is he shit? Like I don't know.
Again, I may be over exaggerating.
He certainly had a
I'm
bad
pissed off.
last 2 months.
Yeah,
he certainly had
the last like 6 games have not been good.
And
No,
look how easy their schedule is. And this is why I said if you're an AFC wildcard team, you are lining up to go to Houston over going to Baltimore.
Exactly, and
Like,
that's the reason why I think some
no
of these teams
question
are gonna
about
play
it.
harder than
Yeah, that's
Houston.
why I think the Steelers are going to go hard this week because they want Houston. Everybody wants Houston.
You don't want the Ravens, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think also like this Ravens defense has been getting better last 7-8
Oh, yeah.
weeks.
That's true. too.
I've been saying that.
They've definitely been tightening up. on defense.
Listen, I was surprised by the 2 points, but I wouldn't look into how many points they put up. Like they got to the red zone 3 times. They went for it on 4th down, and yeah, it is what it is. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
They should have beat the Chiefs, though. I felt like that was a pretty good Stroud performance considering, and then they just died the last 5 minutes.
He did play well. Okay, outside of those interceptions, he did make some good throws in that game too.
No, that throw the tank down was about as good as it gets.
Oh yeah, he made some good throws.
For me, it was the last game. He had wide open running backs in the flat that he was throwing over their heads. Then he was throwing 8 and 5 and 8 yard outs to his receivers and short hopping them. It was just frustrating. And they were open receivers. I don't know. Maybe he was just, not feeling good or whatever. But it's just frustrating.
Hit a lot.
It's really bad.
Yeah. All this is to
Rodgers,
say,
it's kind of like what Michael Mann was saying earlier in the year about Rodgers. You feel like every time he gets hit, the Jets' possession ends.
Yeah.
And how about that Jets pick last week? I got to put up a little bit of defense. That game
I wasn't going to mention it though.
I was fine. I felt like I did pretty good last week. But that game script unraveled exactly how I wanted to. Every time they got the ball in the first half, they went down the field. I don't even know if they punted it in the first half. And every time they go down the field, they get a 4th and 2, or Rodgers has a wide open tight end. He throws it at his shins, and the Jets defense is getting stops. That game script was absolutely what I was praying for, and yet they somehow.
In your defense too, every time you mention that game, you're like, "Hey, I'm a dumbass for betting this. Please don't follow me here."
Yes, and I did not.
So that's why I was going to let it go.
You know what I'm saying?
Now I'll tell you, I wouldn't have put it on Patreon. That was a mistake. But other than that, I thought the general approach to the game was good.
But realistically, you can't be perfect.
That was for DGens.
That was for DGens.
You have,
and you might have said that. You might have said that.
Yeah, no, and you have to throw some haymakers, and I felt like that one was a haymaker, and the script unraveled how I wanted to. Also, didn't get a lot of credit for the Giants money pick on YouTube. But certainly heard about the fucking Jets. I think I even tipped the Giants to win money line in the upset video. Yeah. So, you got to take some swings, and it is gambling. But
I call it donating to the gambling gods and the handicap gods. Because you can't win them all. You know what I'm saying? And if you give a little, you get much more, and that's how this whole thing works. But I'm going to go on a limb and say this. I'm a lifelong Miami Dolphin fan for over 40 years. Please, guys, Miami fans out there, this is the spot where the Dolphins are going to let you down.
I kind of think the Jets win, but I don't want to do it again.
No, I'm not going to bet the Jets, but I'm saying I'm definitely not going to bet Miami. And I love my Dolphins. This is not the spot. No Tua. They're going into the cold. This is where every Dolphins fan heart breaks, and I've seen it over and over again, 40 years in a row. Please do not bet the Miami Dolphins this week.
Yeah, this is the game where Aaron Rodgers puts up 350 yards for no reason.
For no fucking reason at all.
Yeah, for no reason.
Well, this will be the game. Remember when he did that in Miami?
Yeah, he'll put up 350 yards, and the Jets will bring him back next year. We got something here.
I don't know. I think he's done. That whole system is going down the tubes. They're going to revamp everything over there in New York. Offense.
If I'm Vrabel, I want Rodgers back. So.
Yeah, they're going to rehab.
What's Francesca saying? Last time I heard Francesca call into WFAN, Francesca was saying he would bring Rodgers back.
No, he didn't.
He said it. This was 3 weeks ago. He called he fucking called in angry when the Mets signed Juan Soto, and then of course he's on a rant for 20 minutes. Then he moves on to the Jets, and and he was pretty much saying he would bring Rodgers back, and he was saying which I agree with, but secondly he was also saying the Jets have the worst coaching he's ever seen, which
is true.
There's been so many firsts for them this year. It's been absolutely incredible.
How they went from what they were last year to how they are this year is a major digression, especially on defense.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
It's
what,
really bad.
and we said at the time, they screwed up firing Robert Saleh
Yeah,
as
that was
early
not
as
a
they
bad.
did.
Why would you not wait till the end of the season for that? Like,
Right.
I don't.
what are you getting out of that? Like, or
It was a
that
panic
that's how
move.
the season went down the tubes at that point.
They did it like week 5 of the year. They were only 2-3. They were like well within striking distance of a playoff run. Like if they could just strangled off some wins, they just they had a bad September, and then after they fired Saleh, everything just fell off the tracks.
Yo, and Steven Bradshaw, yeah, he didn't get the 500 touchdown last week, so expect a lot of red zone targets for Devontae Adams. So
Mike
yeah.
Francesa had a really good podcast on today. That his Friday podcast was really good. I don't know if you guys watched that. Mike Francesa's podcast this week.
It's tough to hear from him now in the internet age. But I heard him when he called in WFAN. He's better than ever. So Michael Mann, do you know who Mike Francesca is?
No.
What? Yeah. See,
If you
Chris,
say
Have you ever
we're
seen?
getting
Have you ever
fucked
seen
over.
the Adam Sandler movie Uncut Gems?
no, honestly, you're lucky that I even know who Adam Sandler is.
Fuck
Okay.
Adam Sandler, but I get it. Like it's more like a New York thing, but it was national. He would just be like this fat guy who would drink Diet Coke, and he used to argue with the guy who's on First Take now, and they used to like be really good. Anyways,
Yeah,
No.
Mad Dogs. Yeah.
and they used to be on like national TV, and yeah,
But he
so
took over
anyways,
the
but-
Yes Network. Yeah, the Yankees Network. He
Yeah.
was on the Yes Network for a number of years.
Yeah,
Y'all are from New York. Y'all are both from New York too, so it's probably like more popular up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so any last words? Anyone on any games we didn't talk about?
No,
No.
it's been a great year. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you're doing some live call-ins for the playoffs. If
Of
not,
course, man, we're not stopping.
yeah, and MLB is coming. I wanted to go over some of the MLB stuff with you. It'd be great if I could talk to you, off camera. But yeah, I got some.
Chris, you got WhatsApp?
No, but I can get it.
Yeah, it's free. So it's just I'll give you my number on WhatsApp because I need someone who's bat. I have like a few contacts, but yeah, I need someone to walk me through the bat baseball because Chris, it's a lot different. Okay,
It's way different. It's every day. It's a grind. Plus, my just a little bit, just a brief thing. My theory is, you have to look at pitching is everything, right? Pitching is everything because when a lineup doesn't hit, a whole lineup doesn't hit. Okay, so and lineups go through slumps, and sometimes it could last a week, it could last a day, but pitching is always right. So you have to and the way I look at it is you have to go with the strong teams that have strong pitching staffs, and my thing is money lines. If you want to get greedy, you start going, you just start playing runs and stuff like that. But how I feel is you go through a week, they play 6 games a week, and you just go money line. You go money line all week, and if you hit, four out of six, you're in the money. You hit 5 out of 6, you're in the money. You know what I'm saying? And it's when you start getting greedy is when you start losing money, and it's easy to lose money in baseball because it's every single day.
Oh yeah, ask Pete
Yeah.
Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but yeah, any last words before we go? And yeah, Chris, I'll send you my number on Discord.
No, and just to confirm too,
Sure.
we're doing the early spread videos like in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, dude, we
Okay.
got to expect.
No, I'm with
yeah,
you.
we got if you can.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll 100% be in the mood.
I'm kind of thinking if you don't do the early, if you don't get these bets in early, they're just gonna. It's in the playoffs where early bird gets the worm
Yeah.
because
Oh, for real.
yeah, like you need to get that shit in early because they're gonna correct it throughout the week and you're gonna lose money.
Bro, and people were so pissed at us for not doing it this week.
Yeah, I know. So
Like I was getting DMs on Instagram like, where are you guys?
and there was nothing we could take advantage of except the Commanders.
Yeah.
And I still like honestly, the price I got the money pick for on Tuesday at 4.5 really isn't that different than the 3.5 we would have got.
It
That
wouldn't
would've
even made a
probably-
difference this week anyway.
Yeah, I
I mean,
don't-
think about it. You're not really not betting anything. There's like 2 games and plus money, player props this week. So
Yeah,
save your money for the playoffs.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. Yes, I honestly, I'm going to try to convey that when I post the bets on Patreon because it is week 18. Like, because I know
Sometimes
some
not
people.
betting is winning money.
The week of the degenerate. Yeah, like I've been saying.
Yeah.
Weeks 1 and week 18 are the 2 degenerate weeks of the year.
I'd
But
say
but
weeks
Mike,
1
it
through
would be
4 are
fine.
degenerates.
But Mike, it would be fine if people went degen and like chase plus money. But like they'll go degen like betting like minus 130 and
Exactly. People will bet seriously like they should be betting in the playoffs and not just like, tease and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
playoffs.
week 18 is the week to just like, take a victory lap. Just mess around.
No, and
So-
Mike, and I'll be on it. Yeah, like I want to mess around. Like I want to chase some things. Like I want to chase some things in this Falcons game, maybe.
Right.
And I want to,
that Commanders minus 13. Yeah.
I want to chase maybe some Jimmy G same game parlays with the Rams, maybe covering the spread. Like I want to chase Justin Watson and Carson Wentz getting going against the Broncos. It would be fun if the Broncos lost though, and we got.
Oh my gosh!
All right, come on, man.
They're not going to do it. Chiefs are going to tank. They're not going to let that happen. They're going to intentionally.
They're going to cover that. They're going to cover that 10.5 though.
Dude, if I were Andy Reid, I'd be like, yo, guys. We cannot win this game. We cannot. And keep in mind, too, whoever is the 7th seed is probably going to see the Chiefs in the divisional round if that wild card wins the first round of the playoffs.
It doesn't matter who they play. They have Taylor Swift on the reps. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're going to see plenty of her.
Mad.
Yeah, but hopefully, but yeah, I'm curious about the playoffs. I was looking at some playoff odds, and Mike, we got to try. So, okay, so let me try to articulate this. So, I mean, once we finish the Vikings Lions game, sorry for everyone watching and listening now, but might as well once I got Mike on the line. So Mike, once the Vikings Lions game ends, I think we should talk about the Vikings Lions game for 5 minutes. Okay. Let's not go overboard with anything. Like if the Chiefs beat the Broncos, yeah, we're going to have to react to it, but we need to get to the seeds and we need to get to the spreads because there's going to be a lot of shit to say. So, and some of that I'm going to have to hold in because Tuesday has to be a big day too. So, I will be posting one on Patreon because kind of like last time with the Rams against the Jets, we were certain about the Rams against the Jets. And then we started over fucking thinking the whole fucking week when it was just our first reaction was the right reaction. Like on the test, don't they say when you take like a test, your first reaction is right, like 85 to 90% of the time. So
yes, not just in tests, in life in general.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I think that makes sense. All right, guys, I'll see you. Thank you for coming on.
All right, gents, see you later. Great stream. That was fun.
Oh, and John, you said
we'll get killed in the comments.
On WhatsApp, there's inbox or no?
Yeah. Okay. WhatsApp is kind of like think of like, it's like messaging. It's like how can I explain it? It's kind of like an inbox.
It's like an overseas type of phone call thing.
Right. Yeah, it's like GroupMe. Do you have GroupMe or Signal?
No, but it's.
Oh, it's kind of like one of those apps.
Chris, you'll figure it out.
So then on Discord, how would I get in touch with you on Discord? Are you gonna do like an inbox on there?
Yeah, Chris, I'll send you a message tonight once I post the bats on Discord.
Okay.
I'll just send you my number.
Gotcha. All right. Good luck, guys. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week.
All right.
See you guys.
One, Chris.
Bye.
See you, Mike. Okay. So Patreon bets will be up in about 30 minutes. We got 3 soccer bets. Thank Steve. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Steven. Brian Webb. Like, let's get this baseball money. What's up, Iron City? Yo, see you, Chris. See you, Chris. Yeah, man. Live chat was good tonight. Week 18, and you guys are digging down. So credit to you guys. Good job work on the algorithm. Like normally once it gets to the last 3 weeks of the season, the views fall off. They haven't fallen off. So credit to you guys. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who sent a super chat. David McCarthy, my bad. I didn't fucking see it in time, man. Sorry about that, bro. Seriously, man. But yeah, everyone have a great night. Let's get this money. Patreon bets will be up like 30 minutes max.